All right, let's now shift our attention to the other big story that we are tracking this afternoon, where after his visit to Indonesia and Malaysia as a part of the 5-day three-nation tour, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached Singapore following a meeting with his Malaysian counterpart Dr. Mahathir Bin Mohamad earlier in the day. Now, on the last leg of his visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding extensive talks with the Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. The Indian Prime Minister will also be addressing CEOs of the top 20 companies and is also likely to ink a number of pacts in the areas of defence, space and also skill development. Now, another highlight of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Singapore will be his keynote address at the Shangri Dialogue. He is the first Indian Prime Minister ever who has been invited to deliver the keynote address at the forum.
Visit is also, I must say, important purely not just from the Shangri-La dialogue point of view, but also, as I said, because of the comprehensive nature of India-Singapore strategic partnership. And during this visit, we are doing a number of Prime Ministers having a number of engagements, as well as a number of outcomes are expected, cutting across the 4 pillars of our partnership. And this includes the strategic, which is defense, political and security, the economic partnership.
Now, earlier in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met with Dr. Mahathir Bin Mohamad and congratulated him on assuming the office of Prime Minister of Malaysia. The two leaders had a productive but a brief exchange on strengthening the strategic partnerships between the two nations. And also in an interesting manner in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expanded the horizons of diplomacy, he has in recent years made it a point to visit and greet world leaders immediately after they've been elected as their heads of state. Now, in his present tri-nation tour of Southeast Asia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a brief stopover in Kuala Lumpur to meet and greet the newly elected Prime Minister Mahathir Bin Mohamad. Now, immediately after the meet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted, and I quote, "Glad to have met Dr. Mahathir Bin Mohamad. I thank him for the warm welcome. We had productive discussions on further cementing India-Malaysia ties," unquote. But this, however, is not the first time that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has seized the initiative to cement ties with a newly elected leader. When Vladimir Putin had won a 4th term as Russia's president and was sworn in on the 7th of May, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in the resort town of Sochi on the 21st of May for an informal summit with the Russian president. Now, a similar diplomatic strategy was also employed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi when Angela Merkel, after lengthy negotiations, finally became the Chancellor for Germany for a 4th time, leading a coalition. She was sworn in as the Chancellor on the 14th of March, and to cement the Indo-German ties, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made it a point to have a brief stopover in Germany after wrapping up his visit to the United Kingdom, where he had attended the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Now, interestingly, even in the case of China, when President Xi Jinping was unanimously elected for a 2nd term on the 17th of March, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was quick to visit China. In an unprecedented informal summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with the Chinese President Xi Jinping in Wuhan to discuss a whole host of different issues in a bid to resolve differences and also reset the India-China ties. Now, although bilateral visits and diplomacy are the order of the day, what is new is the initiative which has been seized time and again by Prime Minister Modi to cement ties with new heads of states immediately after their election.